Okay, so hi everyone, I am Ekansh Gupta and I am a maintainer with SigNoz. I am also the software engineer and the product owner of Traces. And yeah, my full-time job consists of sleeping, and in the meantime, when I am awake, I develop. I was supposed to be joined with Pranay, who's the co-founder of SigNoz, but he's not here. So yeah, let's get started with the session. The session is all about trying OpenFeature and OpenTelemetry for automated rollouts of new services. Uh, just wanted to know how many of you know OpenFeature or OpenTelemetry or ever heard of it. Then why are you attending the talk? Okay, sure. Yeah. Let's get started with that. We will talk about SigNoz first. So SigNoz is an open telemetry native open source observability product. We provide observability SaaS for enterprises. We have a lot of stars in GitHub, and our Slack community is growing, and we are also hiring. So I'm going to show a QR code if you want to join the team. And we have a lot of contributors as well. So you have all these detail on the page. Yeah. So what we will discuss today, we will discuss about what is OpenTelemetry for the people who don't know. We will also talk about what are feature flags and what is the difference between feature flags and OpenFeature. Apart from that, why is it necessary to use OpenTelemetry and OpenFeature? Why are open standards important? And why and how OpenFeature integrates with OpenTelemetry for all their telemetry data? What are the challenges in rolling out a new service? And how observability and feature flags can help. And lastly, we will have a demo and a summary. So this would be the outline of the talk. And yeah, so what do we hear from users? What is OpenTelemetry? OpenTelemetry is highly high quality, is found everywhere, so it's ubiquitous, and it's portable telemetry to enable effective observability. It's open source, and it's a paradigm shift in observability. And if we go to the next slide, we will see that it's the second fastest growing project in CNCF, and it's only behind Kubernetes. So it's a very huge product, and a lot of people are using it. And for like telemetry data, it's the single source of truth. I would say it's amazing, and it provides no vendor lock-in. Obviously, that's why we call it open source. Open source default auto instrumentation and manual instrumentation is available. And we get everything like all the melt data from it. So metrics, traces, logs, and events. We get signals and profiling as well. And we are native for using OpenTelemetry for instrumentation. Apart from that, I would also like to mention that whatever we plug in with OpenTelemetry, it's already available to all the products which use OpenTelemetry. So that's why we want something which is having no vendor lock-in. Yeah, so coming down to what are feature flags. In very simple words, feature flags are if-else statements. So if my feature flag is on, I will roll out a new feature. If my feature flag is off, then I will not roll out a new feature. It can be dependent on the username. It can be dependent on the type of user of your product. It can be dependent on A/B testing of your product. So let's just say that I am rolling out a new feature, and I do not want all of my users to be accessible for that feature. I can just disable the feature flag for those particular users, and the feature will never be visible. It will be like that the feature is not there for those users. For our dev or for the contributors who I want the feature flag to be enabled and the feature to be available, I'll just turn on the feature flag. So in a very, so I just took that photo from OpenFeature's website. And this is the simplest form of feature flags, where your app is talking to a feature flag client, where it checks if the feature flag is enabled or not. And there are a lot of feature flag evaluations throughout your methods and services. Coming down to what it looks like. So let's just say we have a new feature. As we discussed earlier, we can turn on the feature flag on for some user segments such as development or quality assurance. And I do not want it to go to production. So I'll just turn off my feature flag. Also, let's just say I have developed a feature, and I just wanted to that a lot of people might not use it, but I do not want to make a new deployment for that particular feature. So I'll just turn off my feature for that point of time. It's still there in the code, it's still deployed, but it's not available for everyone. So why feature flags? So feature flags give us less risk. I do not have to do a lot of deployments, regular deployments for just small features. We can test in production, we can do A/B testing, we can roll out the feature for certain number of users, certain percentage of users, and then we can test if the feature is working or not. So a percentage-based rollout is also available. We can also do faster rollbacks. Let's just say that I have enabled a feature for everyone, and what happens is that we are getting a lot of errors. So I will show that in the demo as well. We are getting a lot of errors in those features, like a lot of 500 errors or something happened. It was enabled earlier, it was working fine earlier. When I started that feature, it just got destroyed. The whole application is not working. I can just turn off the feature flag and it will work fine. So that's faster rollbacks. And apart from that, there is flexible code management of what part of the code is accessible to the user and what part is not. So coming down to then what is OpenFeature? Would anyone like to say about OpenFeature? What is OpenFeature? If we already have feature flags, then why is OpenFeature available here? Anyone wants to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Okay, you said that to be vendor agnostic. Yeah, right. Okay, partially correct. Let's see what OpenFeature is. So OpenFeature provides a shared standardized feature flagging client which can connect to any of the feature flagging services. So let's just talk about some of the feature flagging services. So apart from FlagD, does anyone know any feature flagging service? Obviously, launch darkly. And then there is Flagsmith and other third-party instrumentation of feature flagging. So when I have to do that feature flagging instrumentation, I just have to, I will have to directly put that in my application. But with OpenFeature, I can just put that I have to make a new provider available for that. And only my application has to talk to OpenFeature for my feature flagging services. And apart from that, it's open source. And whether it's commercial product or a self-hosted, OpenFeature provides a unified API for developers. So there would not be any problems of how we are interacting with that particular application, such as I have to interact with, if I go into the integration of FlagD, so FlagD integrates with a JSON file. So I have a different type of working with FlagD. I have to make a service available on Docker or something. And apart from that, if I use Launch Darkly, then Launch Darkly is a feature flagging service. Then I will have to use their API key. Whereas if I use just OpenFeature, I can just mandate that, yes, my provider is FlagD or OpenFeature, like Launch Darkly. And we are just talking to OpenFeature and not FlagD or Launch Darkly. So this is how it looks like when we are using OpenFeature SDK. My application is just talking to OpenFeature SDK, and then the flag evaluation happens from OpenFeature to the flag provider, such as FlagD or Launch Darkly. So here I took this photo also from OpenFeature website. They are using Flags as a service for feature flag evaluation. So OpenFeature is talking to all that particular provider, and it's getting the result, and it's going to show that on my application. So this was what happened earlier. We were talking to a number of feature flagging clients, and it was talking to their service, and we had to manually instrument that app somehow in our application. Here we are just talking to the OpenFeature SDK or the client, and it is talking to the feature flag provider, and the feature flag evaluation happens at runtime. Yeah, so coming towards, there is a handshake between OpenFeature and OpenTelemetry. So whenever we want to know what is happening with, whenever I turn on the flag, then I want the melt data so that I can actually give like reasonable insights into my application, what is working, what is not working, and if I have to make rollbacks on that or not. So OpenFeature has tracing hooks for OpenTelemetry and metrics hooks, so that I can look into my application for all my telemetry of when my feature flag was enabled or disabled. So what are OpenTelemetry tracing hooks? So tracing hooks are a spec compliant way to automatically add feature flags to traces and metrics. So it would look something like this. So the feature flag attributes are always added to the events of a trace. So this is my trace page where I have called a get application get endpoint of my service, which is called OpenFeature example. We will see that in the demo as well. And it is actually going through launch darkly provider, and it's checking the feature flag variant and the feature flag key. At the point of time when it was doing this evaluation of the feature flag, at that point of time, an event came in through the OpenTelemetry tracing hook, as mentioned previously. So these attributes are added to the span events of traces. So how observability and feature flags can help here? So we can validate our code quickly and experiment iteratively. We can do a faster feature evaluation and faster rollouts. On the basis of faster rollouts, we can also do faster rollbacks if we encounter any errors or failures. And we have a standardized observability of features. So because OpenTelemetry is there, we do not have to do any manual instrumentation of any of the like observability data, and we can do all the A/B testing all that we require. So coming to the demo, what we are going to have is we are having a service A where feature A is available to everyone. We are going to make a feature B, which would be gradually rolled out to a lot of people. And it's going to check the feature flag using OpenFeature. The flag evaluation will happen through launch darkly, but I can do it using flag D or flagsmith. As soon as the flag is turned on, it will send all the data through OpenTelemetry for the observability on some OTel backend. So we are using SigNoz here for traces. And as soon as we encounter a certain number of errors, let's say 200 errors or 30% errors in the last 5 minutes, we are going to send an alert based on the errors and exception. The alert will then call a webhook, which will go towards launch darkly, and it will turn off the feature flags. So here we are going to show the rollout process of a feature and the rollback process of the feature as well. Let's go towards the demo. Yeah. So this is my webhook service. I have the SDK here, the key. The authorization token is here, but it's valid till tomorrow. So if anyone wants to use it, I don't have a problem. So this is the webhook service, which is being called by the alert manager, where it will call this webhook and it will automatically turn the feature flag off. Coming to the actual main service, we have this service which is going to check what is the feature flag value and then make an external API call. And we are manually trying to simulate that 30% of these errors, 30% of these requests will have errors, and it will automatically trigger an alert on that. So we are doing the tracing through SigNoz Cloud. Let's start that. Before that, we are going to just go to Postman and turn on the feature flag. Just a minute. So we are just going to turn on the feature flag. I do not know what is the value of the feature flag right now, but I am going to just manually turn that on right now. So as soon as I do that, my feature flag is on. If I turn on my application, I will get to know that it's working or not. Let's say. Yeah. So my application is available on localhost 3000. Let's go there. And the API call was successful. So the feature flag is on right now. So we are going to call through a load generator service, which is going to send a constant load on this particular application. Let's see what is going on the SigNoz dashboard as well. So as soon as I turn on my load generator service, I will start getting something on the SigNoz dashboard as well. So if we see this for the last 5 minutes, So the error rate is, there are 7 errors, 7 5xx errors. And if we refresh, we will get more. Let's see. But before that, we are just going to see the traces and how that looks like. So if I go to some of the queries, so just a minute. So it would look something like this. Yeah. So here we can see that the feature flag key is test feature SigNoz, which was already there. Let's see where. So the test feature SigNoz was somewhere here. Just a minute. Control F test. Yeah. So this is the feature flag key. What is the feature flag provider name and the feature flag variant? I am also going to check if we are getting any 500 errors. So we are getting some 500 errors. So I have some 500 errors. If I go to the dashboard again to check what is happening there, we see that I am getting like 117 5xx errors are here. So at 200 errors, we will get an alert and it will automatically trigger a webhook, which will turn off the feature flag. So we are trying to simulate that a lot of features, are failing because of the feature flag. Let's talk about the dashboard here as well. I will show you the alert as well. So in the alert here, we are just seeing so we have ClickHouse as backend. We are trying to make a ClickHouse query where the response status code is 500. We are just checking if the span events has feature flag variant as the span key, and then the name and the service name of the application. We are just directly running the query and an alert will be sent on that particular thing. So this particular thing where we are doing query on ClickHouse, I don't think that is available here anywhere, but we are trying to do that and enable that. Let's see what is the status here. So it's 200. So in some time, we will get an alert as well. So we will keep looking at the load generator service of what's happening. Let's see. So triggered alerts. So we have designed in such a way that the alert will be triggered in like a minute or so delay, so that we do not have any misfired alerts. So let's see. Yeah, so the count is increasing, ever increasing. Let's wait for the alert to come in. It's taking some time. Let's see. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
This OpenFeature
Yeah.
SDK.
Do you want to take a mic? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the OpenFeature SDK, does it only provide this vendor agnostic interface only, or does it provide any additional features like caching the feature flags so that every time I don't have to go to the feature service?
To be very honest, right now it's just an evaluation API or an SDK which is triggering, which is evaluating the feature flag. It, to my best knowledge, it does not have any caching right now, but you can go ahead and contribute to open feature.
Thank you.
So according to what we have seen till now and to the code base, we have to, because it's using it is an event, right? So at any point of time and duration, the feature flag can be turned off, right? So it goes to the open feature SDK and checks the feature flag every time. And then it evaluates what is the feature flag. Right now, that is the implementation. Yeah. Yes, please. Just a minute. I will come back to you. So yeah, so the alert is being triggered now. So the alert is firing. If someone can see that, the triggered alerts, and we can see that in some time we will only get 200 responses here. So let's see. Yeah, so we are getting 200 responses here. If I go to localhost 3000, I can see that the feature flag has been turned false. So we have done an automatic rollback on our feature flag as well. I will come back to your question in a minute. Yeah. After that, let's talk about. So we have seen rollouts of a new feature. We have seen rollbacks of that particular feature based on errors and exceptions. Now, why open standards are important? Let's talk about that. We have already had a good discussion on that. So there is no vendor lock-in. We can use any backend provider. So it's not necessarily that you use SigNoz, but it's advisable. It's good. You can use any new feature integrating into these standards, and these are automatically adopted by the supported backends. So if someone else is integrating into OpenTelemetry, it will be directly supported by OpenTelemetry and the supported backends which support OpenTelemetry. It also improves the scalability of all your applications in your ecosystem. So your feature flags are helping you to scale and build on top of your services. And apart from that, let's talk about the summary of the whole presentation. So according to what we got to know from our users, Hotel still has a very steep learning curve as people are coming from other ecosystems. But because of its extensible design choices, it's very beneficial in the longer run. And it is having like a lot of support from all the languages right now. So you can go ahead and contribute to OpenTelemetry as well. And the 3 signal telemetry, which is traces, logs, and metrics, it's mostly the market standard right now, and we should use Hotel for that. And you can get involved with SigNoz through the Slack community, which is signoz.io/Slack. You can create a new issue on SigNoz GitHub, and the SigNoz repo is github.com/SigNoz. Also, we are hiring right now. So if someone wants to be at SigNoz for any dev roles or growth related roles, you can scan that QR code, and you can just say that you met me at KubeCon, and it will be counted as a referral. And we can talk to you outside regarding this hiring process also. Yeah. So your question, a lot of questions. Yes. Who wants to ask a question? Yeah, sure.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for this presentation. It's a neat integration that you have. So I saw that in the interface, there was a mention of a trace and span.
Yes.
So I was just curious, like, are you leveraging any Jaeger code?
No.
You are not?
No.
Because like when you are sending the event and it is switching off the feature,
Yeah.
by leveraging the Jaeger's integration, you can actually show your L3 support or whatever the developers that where exactly the issue is, because it can give you a trace.
So that is already available on, like I am using, for the demo purposes, I am using SigNoz as a backend. So it already has that support.
So it will stitch together the complete contextual log and it will show you the error.
It will show everything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and one more thing regarding the feature thing. I mean, so I have actually a problem with this if-else thing, because managing the code by the developer will become very difficult if for each and every feature they put their code inside if and else statements. So any ways to basically better the life of developers instead of using if-else?
So that is why feature flags are there. So you do
No,
not,
I mean,
you do not have to
you-
write if-else statements.
So we don't need to put our code in if else. So how the feature flag will
No,
switch on and
so
off?
there are certain attributes as well, right? So let's just say if you are writing in Java, you can take that whole thing from the properties file as well. If the properties value is true or not at the top of the method call itself.
But still, we need to write if this is true, then execute this code. Else, don't execute this code. No.
You do not have to. According to the Java implementation, it is not required. I don't think it is required in the Go implementation as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and apart from that, yeah, if-else statements are obviously not easy to manage. I understand that. And that is why OpenFeature is there, so that you don't have to manage that. So for getting, like, I can give you an alternative for that, but yeah, still you will have to check the feature flag value, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Just one thing. I think the demo was great. I wanted to kind of ask if SigNoz is trying to do something like this, or if other observability platforms are trying to do something like this, where when you actually turn on a feature flag, you can kind of get that event and say that, hey, this feature is something that I released and it's over, let's say, a threshold, and that can kind of be the automated hook into that you need to turn off the certain, like a specific feature flag. Because if, let's say, a complex like application where there's like hundreds of flags being evaluated, it becomes kind of harder to know which exact flag was the reason that you
Yeah,
need to
so
turn
we
off,
had
right?
to actually show that as well. I did not.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you can extract the feature flag name or which feature flag variant we have used, and we can turn off that feature flag. I understand that we can use multiple feature flags, and your question is very valid on that point. Sure. So yeah, I just did not show that. We can show it. If I am firing an alert, I can show the service name or the feature flag name as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, dude.
So a lot of times the service might not return a 500 or 5xx
Yeah,
error,
yeah.
and it might return something which I don't want. So is it possible for me to actually check the response and then roll back, or
Yeah, so
is it just that?
that's not a use case of open feature. That's a use case of your telemetry, of how you configure your telemetry and how you basically configure your alerts on basis of that. So if like I have shown you earlier, if I go to SigNoz ka backend, here I can configure the alert rule to be anything. So right now I have configured that if the response code is 500, then trigger an alert. You can just do anything here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's as good as a database query. Any more questions? Yes, please.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So in the alerts, you showed that you have the configuration for launch darkly. Like the alert goes,
Mike. Yeah.
the alert goes to launch darkly to turn off the feature, right?
No, the alert does not go to launch darkly, although it has an implementation there, but it is an enterprise implementation. So what we have done is we have deployed a service. So it would work as a webhook where the alert is firing that webhook, and the webhook and this is then calling the launch darkly service.
So will the webhook is the webhook configured for open feature or for specific provider actually?
It currently for the particular provider, but it can integrate open feature as well.
So
Yeah.
that is supported
Yeah.
for the open feature.
I'll just come back to you, Shivai. Prashant, one person in the back as well, right? That person. Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks for the talk. My question is related to the management of feature flags. Like
Yes.
we have started working on a project where over the time we have rolled out features in labs and staging and other production environments. Now, after some time, it feels like we have hundreds of feature flags and in different environments. So we want to manage them in some way that, okay, we know that in this platform or this environment, these are the feature flags that are on. Right now, we don't have any tool or solution to use it. We normally have a common staging server, some server where manually we add those features along with the environment. So is there a tool or solution where you can actually manage?
What are you using for your feature flag service?
It's an internal script that we have written to.
Okay, so FlagD provides a UI. So you can just configure that JSON file and it will be reflected to the UI as well. So it's easier to manage the feature flags there. You can just turn on or off through just manually clicking a button.
Okay, and it can interact with multiple environments.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
OpenFeature has can be configured with any backend, right? So FlagD or the launch
any
or
feature
whatnot.
flag provider.
Right. So if let's say at the time the signal got triggered through the webhook, and that backend was down, now what would happen in that case at that point of time to the application?
That's actually not a problem of application. That's a problem of design. So so if you have a good design, then you will capture that particular webhook and then it will interact. So let's just say that my webhook calling service to the launch darkly was down at the point of time alert was triggered. So I should take in that alert somewhere. So probably like an event-driven architecture where you do not want to lose that alert, right? Or you should probably fire that alert to multiple notification channels so that it's not missed. So it's not an it's an architecture design problem. It's not how if the service was down problem.
But it will not cause any issues
No,
to the
no, it
running
will not
of
cause
the
any
application.
issues. It will just serve the feature. Right now, what we have as an architecture, it will just continue serving that feature. But we do not want to do that. So if I put something like Kafka in between, it will go through when the whole application is up and then it will turn off the feature flag. Sure. So we have time for just one more question.
So, do you mind probably just sharing a bit about how we could architect something around the lines of building a generative AI application? So, of course, we have OpenTelemetry that's supported by SigNoz, but also looking in from perspective of OpenFeature. So, imagine that you have multiple variations of a generative AI application where you're running experiments by using different model parameters. So, of course, you could technically feature this as a feature request, right?
Yeah, so just do feature flags on whatever the parameters you want to do that. Let's just say for parameter A, in production you want to set parameter A, and staging you want to set parameter B. You can put multiple options for that feature flag. It is not just true and false. It can have multiple values in that particular thing.
All right. And do you mind also just sharing about integration if you have a built-in integration with DevCycle? Because they are one of the main companies behind OpenFeature.
I don't think so. But anything that is supported by OpenFeature and OpenTelemetry will be supported everywhere. Sure. So that was the end of the talk. Thank you so much. And if you want to talk to the team about anything observability, also anything related to hiring, we are available. Thank you so much.